Welcome back. Thanks for staying with Morning Live. It's your Saturday edition of the show. Artist, painter and printmaker Thokozani Madonsela's artworks are known for making bold statements that depict neutrality and human identity through his iconic nude, faceless, often laughing figures. Well, he didn't shy away from this signature expression on his latest body of work that will be exhibited tomorrow, the 15th of November, at the Benrose Studios in Johannesburg. Titled The Love Protest, this solo exhibition is in collaboration with the Arts Company Soweto and aims to showcase untold African stories of self-love through art. To tell us a little bit more about the collection, we're joined by Thokozani himself. A very good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about tomorrow's exhibition and what the thinking was behind it?
All right. The show, which is titled, as you mentioned, The Love Protest, the whole show basically is just a reminder to just be happy. I just wanted to display how strong we are as a people and how resilient we are. And this is something that we have actually witnessed through the past few months, when we were going through the pandemic. So I just wanted to bring color, to bring love, and just display that through the visuals of this show.
Can you tell us how long it took you to put together the exhibition?
I would say since the beginning of lockdown, I was doing a lot of writing, a lot of sketching. So I would say for the past 7 months, I've been working on the show.
Can you tell us about the body of work that's going to be exhibited? What are some of the stories that are being told through the pieces?
As you walk into the show, the first thing that you notice is a lot of love, is a lot of color. I make use of the African print system to, basically for me, this is just to display where I come from and the people that I live around. Living in Joburg, you experience a lot of, you get to interact with a lot of people from different areas. So basically what the show displays is basically a lot of love. A lot of friendship, a lot of laughter, So yeah, that's basically it.
What is it about the faceless feature that speaks to you and propels you to express yourself in this way? So when I came up with this character, I wanted to come up with something that could basically express itself in a way that I cannot. So every time I wake up, depending on how I feel, I basically use this character to express myself, like I mentioned, that in a way that I cannot personally express myself. So it's a very free kind of figure that you cannot really identify or associate with a certain organization, a certain race, or a certain gender. Those are the kind of things that I was trying to run away from. My main focus was to try and focus on human, just to without labeling. So that's what I would say inspired this character. Why is the mouth so important? I mean, it's quite interesting looking at your pieces. They're actually loud and they say so much, but it's because of this focus on the organ of your body that makes sound, that transmits sounds, that shares sounds.
So the love for me is I would say the main feature in my work. For me, it is a symbol of resilience. Although it depends on what I'm talking about at the time, but it's just a symbol of resilience. It's a symbol of how strong we are as a people. It also just represents a lot about myself as a character. I love laughing. And I think there wasn't any other way to display the kind of person that I am, So my main focus, I chose to just display this love, Basically also to just let go of certain things, I feel like we deal with so much as a people, but there's always something to fall back on, And like we mentioned earlier about this show. And that is love, So that's what I actually I try to focus on the most in my work.
Thokozani, does your character, what does he have or she have to say about all this mask wearing, seeing though the mouth is often the centerpiece of the work?
Yeah, I must say it was very difficult for me to produce work during this pandemic because, like we said, the main feature in my work is this mouth that is just laughing out loud. So I tried as much as I can to stay away from that, and also just I didn't want people to kind of remember this time. I feel like it was it was a tough time for everyone. So I tried as much as I could. It was very difficult, but I tried as much as I could to kind of stay away from that, and not because I'm ignoring the situation, but just understanding that it's not here to last. It's something that's gonna pass soon. So yeah, like in all of my work, I tried as much as I can to not include that part in the work.
Tell us a little bit about the mediums that you use. Charcoal, you paint, you have some mosaic, you mentioned sketches. Can you explain a little bit about the mediums that you use and how you incorporate them, if you don't, and which ones you enjoy the most?
Yeah. So I basically started printmaking, but in the past few years, I've really enjoyed drawing and painting. And that's what I've been doing for, mostly, especially with these characters. I enjoy painting simply because of the color, just the different colors. I feel like they express myself better. Also, just as an African, we love color. We're attracted to color. It shows it just displays different moods, and I'd say that's the one thing that attracted me mostly to painting.
You collaborated with the Arts Company in Soweto. Can you tell us how that collaboration came about?
I'd say the highlight about this is that I went to the Arts Studio, and the guys who founded the Arts Company Soweto were also alumni of the Arts Studio. I also had an opportunity to be taught by them for about 3 years. So for me, coming back and working with them was such a pleasure. It just made the whole project, a bit easier for me, working with familiar faces. I got a lot of advice from the guys. And for this particular show, I chose to go with printmaking. It's a very practical process, which would take probably all day to explain. But it was so easy to work with them because they really guided me throughout the process. And they just launched the studio. So I think for me, it was a perfect time to kind of introduce this show and then work with these guys.
So the exhibition is opening tomorrow. What would you say to entice people to actually come and see? And if they do come and see, what is going to be their experience?
For this particular show, we're not just having a traditional exhibition. We often hear that people are intimidated by galleries. They often feel like it's a very intimidating space. So we decided to bring the show to the actual studio. So people will get to learn more about printmaking, will get to learn more about art. It's basically a whole day experience. There'll be music, there'll be food, and we'll get to interact with different kind of characters. And you get to meet the artist, and we will share more about my journey as an artist. I'd really encourage people to come through.
Yeah. Do people pre-book, or because obviously there are still limitations on the amount of people that are allowed indoors?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, we've been sending out invites. We have a very limited number of people. We've been encouraging people to RSVP for the show, and like you mentioned, due to the COVID restrictions. So we encourage people to follow us on all the social media pages, and please RSVP.
What does art mean to you, Thokozani?
Art is life to me. I wouldn't choose any other career, especially now where we really need to tell our stories as Africans, and we need to tell our stories as honest as we can. And being in this industry that is filled with energy, that is filled with love and passion, for me, it gives us an opportunity to kind of export our stories and kind of also rescue our continent. Not to say that we are in trouble or anything, but just to kind of build our continent and archive our stories. And for me, that's the role that art plays in my life and in society as a whole.
To express yourself honestly is a very brave act. And to follow the path of being an artist is perhaps an even braver journey. When did you know that this was the path for you?
Sure. This thing started when I was young, when I was in primary school. I always knew I could draw, but at the time, I did not really understand what art was, even that I could live off of art, but I find myself here, and I realized that my role is bigger than I thought as a child, and also especially growing up in a place where I grew up in Mpumalanga, it was not really considered as a serious career, as something that could bring bread to the table, so having grown up and having persisted and end up being using this to tell my stories, to express myself, it means a lot, So I've always known that I wanted to be a creative, but I'm only getting to learn more about it now, that this is actually a bigger role than I thought, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really loving it.
It's been lovely to talk to you, and it's been lovely to see some of your art pieces. Thank you so much for chatting to us today.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, that was mural artist, painter and printmaker Thokozani Madonsela speaking about his solo print exhibition, which is going to be taking place in Johannesburg. It's called The Love Protest, and I suppose during such a difficult year, choosing to love yourself, choosing to love those around you is an act of defiance in itself.